To discuss development in Edo State and, of course, the politics. I'm joined by Special Advisor to the Edo State Governor on Media Project, Crusoe Osagie. Crusoe, thank you very much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me.
What are the key priorities for the Edo State government in light of these recent judicial decisions?
Yeah, well, I would like to speak more about the decision I would consider more consequential, which is the decision affirming the candidacy of Dr. Asue Ighodalo as the candidate of the PDP in the governorship election for 21st of September 2024, and also throwing out allegations by Philip Shaibu and his cohorts that sought to claim that Asue Ighodalo had forged the voter's card. For me, that's a more consequential decision. For the other decision, which is the one faulting the impeachment, I think that is not a very consequential decision in the sense that Obaseki runs his tenure to an end on November 11, 2024, which is just barely 4 months from now. This judgment that Philip Shaibu has received is just temporary. We have since sought for a stay of execution, and we are going on appeal, and that matter can go all the way to the Supreme Court. So in our estimation, the appellate court and the Supreme Court will eventually right the wrong that has been done, at this level of court, and Philip Shaibu stands impeached, and he will never be deputy governor in Edo State again. The substantive and incumbent deputy governor of Edo State is Marvelous Omobayo Godwins.
I mean, political watchers are saying that the developments, especially between the governor and his now former deputy and reinstated deputy, I don't know which to go first, has made politics in Edo seem the focal point rather than the people. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what implications do this court's ruling have for the future governance and political dynamics within Edo State? Is it setting maybe some unhealthy precedents?
Yeah, well, Philip Shaibu has behaved very unprofessionally as a one-time deputy governor. Instead of focusing on the business of governance, he was more interested in pursuing politics, and that distracted him, and then which is what led to his misconduct that led to his impeachment. There were valid allegations leveled against him, one of which is disclosure of office secrets and so on and so forth. All of that started happening because he was more interested in politics than in governance. And that's what led to the House of Assembly kicking him out as a deputy governor. And yes, it serves as a major deterrent to public office holders. When you're elected to an office, you have to give all your best in service to your people, instead of seeking the next election. You should seek the service of your people.
But he's not the only culprit here, but there are so many issues I'd like us to talk about, so I wouldn't want us to focus too much on that. Let's see if we can move forward and get, you said earlier that you're still going to a higher court to stay. There's already a stay of execution of the judgment reinstating the deputy governor. And there are concerns about the ruling of the government, the court, on the Asue Ighodalo as the PDP governorship candidate. Do you think that's the end of the matter, or the aggrieved parties in this case will also go to court?
Yeah, well, I think they're free to go to court, but we are confident that the decision will not change. The judge was very clear. Incidentally, the same judge in the two cases was very clear. Number one was that two of the plaintiffs failed to prove, didn't participate in primaries, and so they didn't have a locus. And then the other two plaintiffs failed to prove case of forgery against Asue Ighodalo. From the onset, we always knew it was all a hoax. We always knew it was all just delay tactics. Even if you take it to God, it's going to be the same outcome. Asue Ighodalo is the valid, candidate of PDP for the coming election in Edo State on September 21st, 2024. And come that day, Asue Ighodalo will contest the election, and by the grace of God, we believe he's going to win.
There are those who would say there might be implications, even though you believe that he is the candidate, for the citizens who will be going to the polls. They might say somebody that's having so many cases even before, you know, the election is here. How will that impact the perception of the candidacy going forward?
Rather than setting him back, I think all these cases are pushing Asue Ighodalo forward, because it's only a mango tree with ripe fruits and beautiful fruits that people throw sticks at. You know, that's the reason why all these cases are being filed. Everybody knows Asue Ighodalo essentially is the only candidate that is contesting this September 21st election. And the reason why I say so is because, number one, he's from the right central district, because in Edo State there's a general consensus that Edo Central should produce the next governor, and Asue Ighodalo is from Edo Central. The other candidate that could have been a good candidate in this election is Olumide Akpata, but Olumide Akpata cannot be governor in Edo State immediately after Obaseki, being from the same central district from Obaseki. Obaseki is from Edo South, a Benin-speaking Edo State, and he has spent 8 years in office. It would be, you know, to be inequitable to have another person from Edo South do another 4 years after 8 years done by one of his kins. So that is what disqualifies Olumide Akpata. Then the other candidate from the APC, you know, everybody in Edo State knows that he's not a candidate. He's not a good candidate. He can't speak, can't assert his vision. He can't convince the people. He can't curry favor and votes for himself. So to that extent, Asue Ighodalo is the only valid and viable candidate in the coming election, and he's going to win by the grace of God.
All right, thank you very much for speaking with us. I expect we will be calling back for more conversation in the future on the subject. Thanks.
I thank you very much for having me.